All right. Test, 1, 2. I might need that microphone in just a second here, so very good. All right. Okay, so when I was 10 years old, my teacher asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be a professional magician. And he said, sorry, you can't do both. I don't know if he was right or wrong, but here I am, a professional magician, here to talk to you about truth. There's my picture. Can you guys see the slide there? Are we good? I can't see, so I'll have to trust that. So when you're a magician, you get asked kind of the same questions all the time. And we're here to talk about truth, but the truth is I don't have a lot of answers. All I have is questions. Because if you want to know the truth, you have to ask questions to get to the truth. All right? That's the most important thing. And when you're a magician or you have a creative field, or you're in a creative field like we are, you probably get asked the same questions over and over again. So the first one I always get, of course, is, can you show me a trick? All right? This usually comes off as, show me a trick. Or as I hear it, dance, monkey, dance. All right? So now I'm going to dance for you. The truth is, I already have been showing you a trick. That is because many of you think I am talking to you from this microphone, but this microphone is off. All right? This is a trick of your perceptions. All right? So let's take this a step farther. I have here a couple of pieces of rope. So I have 3 pieces of white cotton rope. Now, raise your hand if you think I am telling you the truth. All right, you guys trust me. This is good. All right. Most people do not trust magicians or politicians. All right? But magicians like to say we are the most, or the only honest profession. We're the only profession where you know we're about to deceive you. It's for entertainment purposes only. Now, notice I didn't say lie, all right? Because lying is usually the least effective way of deceiving someone. If I tell you the truth, I say I have 3 pieces of white cotton rope, what I'm doing is focusing your attention on what I want you to doubt, to question, right? It's mental misdirection. You might be thinking, are the ropes really cotton? Maybe they stretch. Maybe there's more than 3 ropes. He's hiding something in his hand, right? What I didn't mention, there's one quality of the ropes I didn't mention. That's the relevant one. This rope right here is actually a lot bigger than this one. That's a big difference. I don't know how you didn't notice that a moment ago. All right? Now, if you're surprised by this, this is because you're making a false assumption about something you did not know was relevant. And now you do. Here's the important thing to think about, though. When I pulled these ropes out, they all looked like they were the same size. And you were wrong about that. How did it feel to be wrong about that? It felt exactly the same as being right about something. All right? The feeling of being wrong is exactly the same as the feeling of being right. You can be wrong your entire life about something, and you feel like you're right about it. It's only the moment that you realize you're wrong that you have a different feeling. This is the moment of when you laugh in a joke. This is the moment of the aha moment in the creative process. And this is the moment of astonishment and a magic trick, right? Magic makes you feel like a kid again. 3 of you have already said that to me today, all right? Because it makes you feel curious, and it makes you ask questions. So how many of you are feeling curious, and how many of you are asking questions? How many of you are wondering if these ropes are all different sizes, or if they're all the same size? Yeah, all right, all right. How many of you, if I take 1 rope away, how many of you assume that there's 2 ropes left? Right? Or is that just an illusion? Right? So the thing about magic is not real, all right? Because magic is the opposite of real. It can't be real, definitionally speaking. But the experience of a magical moment is about the most real thing you'll ever experience. So what's real and what's the illusion? So next question I get all the time, of course, is how did you learn magic? When I was a kid, I saw a magician do a magic trick. There's 3 types of ways people react to that. Some people go, I don't know how that works, and I don't want to know. It's magic, yay, right? Some people go, I know how that works. It's smoke, it's mirrors, it's magnets. They're almost always wrong, but it makes them feel good to feel like they're right, right? And there's the 3rd type, that's me, the scientific type, that has to know the truth, that has to get to the bottom of it and figure it out no matter what it takes. So even at a very young age, I found myself a magic book. This is the first magic book I ever had, the Mickey Mouse magic book. Did you have this one as a kid too? I did literally every trick in this book to my friends and family. I still don't know if they enjoyed that or not, but I literally did that. My family then and I went to a vacation, and we went to a magic shop where I got a mail order catalog. Yes, I'm that old. I ordered tricks, and I got my first magic book. This is J.B. Bobo's Coin Magic. This is something not many people get to see. It's a book of magic secrets. All right, now my library has about 200 of these books, and then hundreds more notes, pamphlets, videos, VHS tapes, DVDs. I have a small library compared to the big libraries out there. Some have over 12,000 magic books in them, and millions of notes and documents that document magic secrets. But while I learned a lot from books and videos, I didn't have YouTube as a kid. I really learned from going to the local magic shop, local magic conventions, and magic clubs. When you get to, just like today, join a community and meet other people that are like you and that think like you, and then share back and forth. What's your day job? I don't have a day job, suckers. I get paid to go to parties, travel the world, and make people happy for a living, and I make a good living doing it. All right? Of course, I have to answer emails, phone calls, and book shows. But outside of that, I've been doing what I wanted to do for a very long time. Next question, what's the next step? I always think this is kind of a strange thing when you're in a creative field. If you respect a profession, you rarely ask this step. How many of you go to your doctors and say, so what's the next step in your career? Right? On the flip side of that, we always want to be changing, we always want to be growing, so we always want to be doing new things, right? Especially when you're in a creative field, right? For me, I definitely know I do not want to be famous. I've been on television, it doesn't make you famous anymore. It's the last thing I want to be. I definitely don't want to show in Vegas. That sounds like a real job, all right? I definitely don't want to compete on a talent show. Ooh, all right? I really do enjoy what I do, and I've been doing that for the past 20 years. Doesn't mean I won't do something different or I won't change. In fact, this is kind of fun, so maybe I'll do more speaking. I don't know, right? The truth is, I do not know what I'm going to do in the future. I'm okay with that. Just as I think it's okay to say I don't know about something and be okay with being at one with not knowing whether something is true or not. What can a magician teach me about truth? How many of you came in here today and think, oh, why do we want to hear a liar talk about the truth, right? So magicians are experts at manipulating truth and perceptions of reality, both physically and mentally. To know if something's true, you must first realize it is possible for that thing to be false. If you don't understand deception and how to spot it, then you cannot be confident that you know the truth. It's kind of counterintuitive. Oftentimes, the best way to understand the truth is through the counterfactuals of that truth. But problem is, most people don't have the imagination or don't think to ask the question to actually look into that, right? There's a professor named Ron Howard, not the Ron Howard that looks like me, a different Ron Howard, who made all of his students answer 2 answers to every question on his tests. The answer to the question, and then they had to assign a percentage of how confident they thought they were in that answer. If they answered 99% and they got the question correct, they would get more points. But if they got the question wrong, they would get less points, and vice versa. But he warned his students, never ever answer 100% to any question. Because if you get that question wrong, 100% times 0 is negative infinity, and that one question makes you fail the entire class. Right. The lesson here is don't be overly confident in what you believe. If you're open to being wrong, then that's how you're open to growing and changing your perspective of what you currently know. All right? So there's a couple different, 2 different types of truth. Jenny mentioned this earlier. There's objective and subjective. There's actually quite a bit more, but we're only going to talk about the main ones here. I think everybody knows what these are. This is kind of the difference between facts versus feelings, data versus stories, right? Right? You've all heard the phrase, facts don't care about your feelings. This is true. What is just as true, if not more so true, is feelings don't care about your facts, all right? The truth is we are all human beings and we're more guided by our stories and our emotions and our feelings than what we actually know to be true about the world, okay? there are also what's called normative truths. These are more social truths. These are truths like religious truths, ethical truths, these types of things. And we are also social creatures, just as we are emotional creatures, and we're more influenced by these than we are by the data and the facts and the way the world really is. There are several different theories of truth. The first theory of truth is the correspondence theory. You changed my slides up, Adam. So the first theory of truth is the correspondence theory. These different theories aren't really in competition with each other. They're more something you layer upon each other. The correspondence theory is, does what I believe correspond to the real world? Right? This is is this objectively true? Right? Does this correspond to reality? Does my model of reality actually match reality? Right? The second has more to do with the subjective side of it, which is the coherence theory. Does what I am hearing or what I'm bringing in cohere with what I already believe? Right? If it gels with all the things you already believe, then we're likely to accept it as true. If it doesn't, we're likely to not accept it. If I say, I actually am Prince Harry, you probably immediately don't accept that. The problem is, the things you do automatically accept are the ones you need to be most skeptical about, because those are the ones that you're most biased to believe. There's also the consensus. Who all believes this? Do the experts believe this? Is there a consensus on this? Again, we're group people, group animals. And second to that is the pragmatic theory, which is a little bit different theory of truth. Is this practical? Is this useful to me? Does this get me to survive life? If so, then this is true in life. And we evaluate these things in different ways. So we can all probably agree that in the Middle Ages and prior to that, the consensus was that the Earth was flat. And this made sense because it corresponded to what you observed. The Earth kind of looks flat from your perspective. It cohered with your system of beliefs, especially the religious beliefs at the time. The consensus was that the Earth was flat, and that, and from a pragmatic point of view, you didn't really bother you. You didn't have GPS to worry about back then, right? Here's the problem: is that it is possible for us to believe something false to be true because it seemingly passes all or some of our definitions of truth. This is because we don't know what we don't know, and it is difficult to imagine all the possible counterfactuals. For example, everything I just said was not true. People have known the world is round since 300 BC. The consensus of scholars through the Middle Ages was always that the world is round. This is a myth, just like all the myths I said in the game earlier. Problem is, they cohere with what you believe to be true. And very few people think, have I actively searched or Googled the opposition of my belief? Right? We just accept it and we go through life thinking that what we believe is true. That is what we as magicians take advantage of, right? We take advantage of your false assumptions and the things that just automatically you accept as being true without even thinking about it. Do you know other magicians' tricks? This is a very common question. Now, when I was 13 years old, I saw a magician on stage, cut a girl in half, put her back together. It was amazing. I was like, I don't know how he does this. So I go to the library, I find a book, I see a diagram of two boxes separated and a girl scrunched up in the one side of the box and fake feet on the other side, and I say, now I know how this works. About 2 weeks later, someone says, hey, I saw somebody on stage, they cut someone in half, they put them back together. How do they do that? Do you know how that works? I said, yeah, I know how that works, but I can't tell you the secret. Right? Fast forward, if you asked me today that same exact question, I would say I don't know. Right? It's not because I don't know how it works, because I know not one, but there are dozens, if not hundreds, of different possible methods for doing that one trick. I know that none of you know the things to look for to be able to tell me what I need to know to be able to tell you how it's done. All right? Now, there's two things that are important to pay attention here. The first is that what magicians' jobs do, our job as a magician is to create impossible moments, solve impossible problems. Most people cannot come up with a solution to those impossible problems. They cannot imagine a possible solution to a good magic trick. Magicians have literally dozens, hundreds, or thousands of different possible methods for doing that one effect. Literally hundreds of impossible solutions to a problem. Right? The second thing is this is a perfect example of what is known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a phenomenon where people with a small amount of knowledge or experience in a subject tend to overestimate their abilities and competency compared to people who are experts in that same subject. Right? 13-year-old me knew a little bit and thought he knew everything. Right? This is a graph to kind of show you what this looks like. You have on going up, you have your confidence in what you know, and then your knowledge. When you know a little bit, you have a tendency to become very overconfident in what it is that you know. As you know more, you realize there's a lot more that you don't know, and you become a little bit more cultured in what you believe. And as you become an expert, that slope goes up. But rarely are you ever quite as confident as someone who's an ignoramus and just knows a little bit. Now, that's not to say that experts don't have their own biases, right? But we've all experienced some version of this if you've ever had a debate on Facebook, right? Especially with people that aren't in your field of expertise. Show me a trick. I get this one a lot. If everybody has their cups with a little dice in it, I want everybody to pull those out. Raise your hand if you don't have one, and we will get you one. All right, all the way in the back, we need one over there. Before we do this, I have a couple of pieces of paper I'm going to give out. Don't open these yet. Let's see here. Would you go ahead and hold on to one there? Let's get one over here for Kathleen. And we'll do one more over here for you. Listen, yeah? Okay, don't open those yet. We'll come back to those in a second. Everybody to shake the cups like this. Look at the dice. I'm going to ask you to do something you should never ask creative people to do, and that is do math. Add the top two numbers together. All right? Shake the cups again. Add them again. Make sure they're different numbers and not some sort of special magic dice that I'm controlling you. All right? All right, you do it, yeah? You got it? All right, you got it? All right? All right, so we're going to try to do this all together again, just like we did before. I want everybody to shake the cup like this. Whenever you're ready, stop. I want you to add the top two numbers up. In my case, it's 8, but whatever your numbers are, add them up. Add them again so you don't embarrass yourself in a second. Get that number in your mind, all right? We're going to make this a little bit more challenging. Now, earlier I did this with a couple people where I had a one die. We're going to use 2 dice for this, and actually we're going to go a step farther. I want everybody to just pick the cup up like this and look at the bottom 2 dice as well. And add those 2 numbers to the top 2 numbers. So you're basically adding 4 dice all together to get one big number. You can do that a couple times, by the way, just to make sure you add it correctly, all right? All right? Once you have that number in your mind, go ahead and shake the cup up so it's mixed up so no one else can see your number. Then raise your hand so I know that everybody's done this. Everybody there? All right, so at this point, everybody is thinking of a number in your mind up to 24. If your number's over 24, by the way, your math is wrong. All right? Just FYI, all 4 of them together, yes. Did you do that? If not, do it again. I won't use Jenny. Okay, good. All right, so here we go. So everybody's thinking of a number in your mind. I want you to lock that number in your mind. Let's see here. We'll start over here with you. I did this earlier with you. So this is going to make it a little bit easier for me, especially being on stage now. I did something where I had you hold a die, yeah? And I tried to read your body language, yes? Think of the first digit of your number. It could be a 0, it could be a 1, it could be a 2. You see how she blinked there on 1? It's a 1, isn't it? Don't say anything. Just think of the second digit of your number. All right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes or no, is this the number you're thinking of? Yes. Yes. Okay, good. All right. Let's see if we can try this with somebody else. Ingrid, right over here. Look me in the eyes. 0. Think of the first digit. No, you have the number in your mind, yeah? You got the number in your mind that you're thinking of before, yes? No. No. You're not thinking of a number. You're not good at following directions? You can start again. I get paid by the hour. It's all good. We'll use someone else. Ben, we'll try this with you then. So here you go. You look like a serious person anyways, Ben. You ready? You got a number in your mind? Yeah? 0, 1, 2. All right. It's a 1. Most of them are 1, so that's not a big deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I think I already know it. Is this the number you're thinking of? That's not the number you're thinking of. We'll come back to you in a second then. That's interesting. Okay. All right. Now, how many of you here believe in psychic abilities? The ability to read someone's mind? If you would you stand up? Would you stand up? Would you please stand up? Okay. All right, so I want you, in fact, someone else back here too did, yeah? Yeah, could you stand up? All right, so you just look me in the eyes. Just think of the number. Think of your number. You're not thinking of 17, right? Got somebody else around you, so let's see here. It's going to be a little harder. You're a little further away. What's your name? Pedro. Pedro. Okay, so here you go, Pedro. There's a lot more people around you, Pedro, so it makes it a little bit more complicated, but we're going to try this. Okay. If you're holding a piece of paper, would you go ahead and stand up as well? Yeah? Now, before you actually rolled your number, you're thinking of a number. Who else did I give a piece of paper? I think I gave 3. Oh, you had one too. There, yeah? So hold on to that for a second. I gave you that piece of paper. I just kind of had a sense with you that you were going to actually end up with that number. Would you please open those 2 pieces of paper up? Hold on to yours for a second here. If that's your number, would you please go ahead and sit down? It's a Post-it note. Yeah? Is that the number you're thinking of? Yes, go ahead and have a seat. For the 4 of you, if I say your number, would you please go ahead and sit down? Wait. 22, 16, 13, and 14. Yeah. We got them all, yeah? And go ahead and open yours up. Did I get yours right as well? Did we get it right?
No, but yes.
Yes. No, but yes. I don't know what that means, but I'll take that as a hit. All right. So I was going to say, the next question is, can you teach me a trick? And I was going to teach you that trick, but I think I'm about out of time. I think we're about to that point where we're going to do the question and answers. So does anybody want to ask this question first? All right. So this is a simple trick that you can all do. You can only do it once, but you can all do this trick. Now, this is actually the first time I've ever done it this exact way for a group. This is normally something you do for one person, but doing it as a group is a little bit different. But it's kind of fun to play around with this and experiment with something completely new. All right? So what you just saw is a perfect example of what we were talking about earlier. Earlier, I talked about how there's many different possible methods for doing one trick. For example, what I was doing earlier when I read your mind, right, is completely different than what we just did right now. There are many different possible solutions for how to create the illusion of reading someone's body language, reading someone's mind, or predicting the future. Okay? But now you're about to all know the actual fact, what's actually going on, not the stories that I'm telling you, or more importantly, the stories that you're telling yourself about what you believe to be true. Okay? If you have 2 dice that are real dice, not special dice, right? Most people don't know the simple rule of the die. The rule of the dice is the tops and the bottom are always the same. They're always opposite each other. 1 is always opposite 6, 3 is always opposite 4, and 5 is always opposite 2. If you add those up, you'll find that 1 plus 6 is 7, 3 plus 4 is 7, and 5 plus 2 is also 7. So while it seems like I'm conditioning you to see that their numbers are always different every time you roll the dice, because they are different every time you roll the dice, it seems like I'm trying to get a bigger number to make it more difficult. What I'm actually doing is when you add the tops and the bottom together, you always are going to be thinking of 14. That means everybody here was thinking of 14 except for...
Well, I had 14 the first time, but I added the 2.
Oh, okay, so you had 14 and then you added the 2, yes?
The number I was thinking is 29.
Yes, exactly, all right. So let's, so the important thing here is what is real? Was I actually reading your body language? Was I reading your mind? Was I predicting the future? Right? The answer, of course, is no. This is a trick, right? So the magician's perspective oftentimes is there are people who believe that you can read people's body language very consistently. It's not true. You cannot. Right? Now, computers can, but humans cannot. You can read it a little bit, but not consistently and repetitiously. Right? Same thing with being able to predict the future or read minds. So the thing about this is that when you're a magician, you realize that there's many different possibilities. If I can duplicate what someone's claiming to be true, what are the odds that they're doing what they're saying they're doing, or some other method that I haven't even thought of yet, right? So there are many possibilities for what could be going on. It's a very important thing. And again, it's about saying, I don't know, but this is interesting. I'm curious about this. Let me see if I can figure more out about it. So let's try this one more time. Everybody go ahead, shake the die, add up the top two numbers. Right? And then shake the dice again and add them up again. Now everybody will have a different number. All right? Let's get rid of 14, because let's be honest, most people are still going to get 14 because it's right in the middle. So who's thinking, raise your hand if you're thinking of a number less than 14. We'll go with you since you didn't get it last time. I have a little cup here, okay? Inside the cup, this looks like a Yahtzee cup, that's what it is. There are 4 dice. You guys just rolled 4 dice. And we're playing a little game called What's in the Cup. What's the number that you're thinking of?
The number I actually had?
The number you're just thinking of, yeah.
12.
12, right? So inside, on the pad here, I've got a bunch of different numbers. There could be a rabbit inside the cup. There could be a Sprite, Statue of Liberty. No, with 4 dice, you can't get those numbers, so that's not happening. Could be glue, ketchup, sorry about that, hand sanitizer, sesame seeds, seashell, can of tomatoes, WD-40, sushi. You said 12, though, yes? On page 12, it says tennis ball. Yeah. So what's happening here? Is a tennis ball appearing under the cup? Or did I know that you were going to pick 12?
I don't know, I'm a tennis player.
Oh, there you go. So let's try it again. Who's thinking of a number above 14? All right, what number are you thinking of? 21. All right, so let's keep going. We got potato, shot glass, bouncy ball, lime, golf ball, padlock, Zippo, money. That would have been good. On 21, we have a Rubik's Cube. A Rubik's Cube, yeah. And well, just to give myself a little extra time, I want everybody to imagine there's a clock. Top of the clock is 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Everybody, what number's over here? 9, 10, 11, 12. If you were to go back in time like this, now you're all 5 minutes younger. Yeah. All right, so at this point, I think we're going to go ahead and open up for questions. Is that about the right time? Yeah. Are you stunned, bored, or high? I don't know what's going on right now. All right, all the way in the back there, yeah.
Have you ever had a trick fail? And what did you do?
Of course. That happens all the time. When you're a professional, you're prepared for it. So I fail all the time, but people never know. One of the things and one of the methods that magicians use is that you don't know what I'm about to do. All right? This is a method especially used by mentalists, for example. All right? A mentalist is someone that does a very subset of magic that only deals with the powers of the mind, being able to float things, move things with your mind, be able to read minds, tell the future. Right? You don't know what they're going to be doing. Right? So they might say all sorts of things, but if they miss, then they just keep going and you don't know they missed. Right? It's just one of many techniques that they might use. But one of the marks of a professional is that when you construct your routines in such a way that if you mess up, people don't know. Right? If you build and build and build till you have one big finale and you mess that up, you're kind of screwed. Right? So always have an out.